And what better way to start off this year 2026 than with structure? I'm Joshua Dad and this is A.T.I. Draws. Thank you for stopping by for today's video. Now some of you may look at your artworks, like I do, and wonder, why is my character built so weird? I've been there, and still there. But I learned 5 unique ways to help improve the way I draw anatomy, so my characters won't look so weird, and these unique ways can help improve your artworks as well, so your figure arts, poses, and animations will all improve. So without further ado, let's get right into these 5 unique ways. Starting off with number 1, using your own body as a live reference. Now, many of us may be confused by that, but your body is the most accessible model you have. A lot of times, most YouTubers will tell you, oh, go look at anatomical figures, or go look at models, or go look at things on the internet. But one thing they never told you is to go look at yourself. The same pelvis that other people have is the same pelvis you get to see. And the best part is you get to actually notice every single thing about your own body. So you're able to now take the little bits and pieces you can't see on a still image and actually put that on your artworks. Because you're able to see how muscles shift when flexed, twisted, or stretched. Major points in what you need for your art. You're also able to see yourself when you put your phone up and you record yourself. You're able to see your poses, how foreshortening works, and the subtle asymmetries that happen between your body and the camera angle. So when you're able to draw, you're able to replicate that and use your body as a reference. And major landmarks that we have on our body, such as our collarbones, our wrist, our pelvis, our neck, just shoulders, everything, those major landmarks that we have, you're able to now actually break it down and see it in real time and see how they shift based off the pose, how they shift based off the angle, and you're able to actually now have a better proportions off of that, because you're able to see how your body is sculpted and then use it to sculpt your actual artworks. And whether you're a guy or a girl, you share similar anatomy structures. Similar. No, not everything's the same. It is somewhat similar. So you could still take the aspects of yourself and then draw it into characters. Now, the second thing for you to do in order to improve your anatomy is draw anatomy over gesture. So in order for you to do this, you would quite literally draw anatomy over your gesture drawings. Start with a loose gesture drawing, like a quick sketch. Then over top of that sketch, on another layer, draw simplified anatomy, using the same things that you do before. Cylinders for longer limbs, boxes or circles, like how I use elliptical shapes. As you can clearly see, I'm using elliptical shapes for the ribcage and pelvis, but you could use boxes if that's more comfortable with you. Boxes are more easier to understand anyway, and spheres for the joints. Then after you draw in these major anatomy structures as a whole, sketch in major muscle groups. Don't worry about perfection. The goal isn't to get it perfect. The goal is to get something there. And by drawing in the gesture drawing, your character's posed. So this shows you how the anatomy and the structure of someone actually moves. How the muscle moves, how the muscle stretches, how the muscle and the joints angle themselves in a way to create balance in a dynamic movement or motion. Now the third thing is muscle isolation studying. So no, this is not going to the gym and focusing on making sure that one individual muscle group is targeted, but it is similar for art. You would take a singular muscle group and draw it, the anatomy of it, in a neutral position, in a flex position, in a stretch position. Just a different muscle group. Just that one singular muscle group in these different positions. The reason why is it shows you how the muscle behaves under different stresses. Whether the muscle is relaxed, whether the muscle is tensed up like someone's posing, or whether someone is like leaning back, stretching their arms, and then of course now the muscles in their delts, their biceps, triceps, those areas are going to be stretched now. And you want to do this not only for that one figure you're drawing, but for different body types. Draw it with someone short, with someone tall, someone of who's old, someone who's really young. Just different body types overall, so you're able to understand how it works with different bodies as well, in different angles. That's the big part. That's what teaches you perspective. And learning this along different contexts help you so much when you're drawing full figures. Doing this really helps you narrow down and be able to draw your characters pretty accurately. Now the fourth method is sculpting anatomy in either clay or a digital sculpting app. Preferably, it will be best if you use something like a 3D sculpting app like Blender, since the tools there are very easy access and is free. But by using this method, it will train your spatial understanding. This is very important because by training your spatial understanding, it forces you to think in a 3D. So you're essentially working on perspective, anatomy at the same time, because when you translate that to your 2D art, you're now not only noticing the muscle, but noticing how it will effectively face you when you're drawing, like what angle it will face you and what part of the muscle will face the viewer when they view the art. And by you breaking it down in different structures, by structuring the skeleton, by adding the muscle masses, by refining the overall anatomy or the sculpture into a refined sculpture, so it represents the actual human body, it will take your spatial understanding and shoot it through the roof. Now, this method is personally my favorite. By doing timed photo to memory, or just photo to memory studies in general, it really improves your ability to recall proportions, angles, and your anatomical relationships between things, not even just anatomy, but objects and things in just a spatial form as a whole. Photo to memory is probably the best thing that I really did, and I did it, and you do it instinctually every day. You will look at an item, and even when you draw it, you will think of drawing it. But the problem is most of us, we don't spend enough time really analyzing the objects around us in order for us to properly draw it. So when we recall something about 2 to 3 days back, we're like, man, I would like to draw something like this. And then you realize, oh, I kind of don't know how to draw this. So by breaking it down into simple shapes, it makes photo to memory studies a lot simpler and transitions into your actual art. So how we will do this is take a reference photo, or even an object around you. But since we're focusing on anatomy, let's take a reference photo. You would analyze it. Time yourself for about 30 seconds. Analyze as much as the photo as you possibly can in 30 seconds. After the timer rings, you close out the reference photo. Well, not completely, just move it out the way. Just don't click on that tab. And hide it. Now take the pose and try and draw the reference from memory as much as you remember. It is not focused on complete accuracy, but it is focused on trying to get the general shape down. The better you become at this, the more focused on accuracy you want to get. And you want to draw this, and you want to get as much as you possibly can from memory. If you want to up the stakes, put a timer on for about 5 to 10 minutes. Sit there, and from 5 to 10 minutes, try your best to draw the same pose from memory. And I know it seems like a lot of time, but for 30 seconds, for a lot of times when you're starting off, it takes a little bit for the memory to recall. So take 5 to 10 minutes and effectively try and recall and make it as accurate as possible. After that 5 to 10 minutes, then reveal the reference and correct the drawing. This definitely helps you a lot, and like I said, it's my favorite. I personally really like this method of drawing anatomy and just drawing in general. Focus aside, by doing this with your everyday objects, it will definitely help you, especially with perspective and understanding shapes, but this is anatomy. Now, the last one and a bonus is watch how other artists sketch. I know this is very self-explanatory, but it's insane to see how many artists don't actually really sit there and look at how other artists sketch their characters. Majority of the time, they show you exactly how they draw their character and how they break down their anatomy in their sketch. Look at majority of the artists that have these time lapse, or majority of the artists that have these tutorials. Majority of the time, they have these things speed up or sped up, where you're able to see how they sculpt their characters. Look closely. If you look at a collection of artists, you can nitpick little bits here and there that you would prefer, or little nitpicks here and there that you think will be interesting or a cool way to sculpt, and add that to your art. It really helps out a lot by doing that, because now you don't have to just figure out, okay, how can I simplify these shapes? You have all these people that have these simplified versions of these shapes that you can now rely on. This now makes a very big difference. By doing this, you broaden, obviously, the artists you watch. This definitely helps a lot, because now you're just not restricted to one style of art as well. You're able to now draw multiple different ones and try out different ones that you never tried before, just in case you might like it. You never know. But the next thing is you're able to now have about 3 to 4 options per major body joint on how to draw it. Now, I see everyone use circles for a shoulder, so I don't think you'll find anyone else who does anything otherwise, but you will find many artists draw their torsos different, their pelvis is different. Many artists like to actually sit there and draw everything out as shapes and then fill everything in, and some artists like drawing the overall outline of a character first and then having a lot more structure to break it down into finer details. Every artist is different, but by taking all the bits and pieces and collecting it all in one group, you're able to now see, okay, what do I want from this artist to help me draw my character's anatomy better? It would deeply improve you a lot. But without further ado, that is all the major methods that I personally know and that I tend to use, and I'm starting to actually sit there and use now to help improve your anatomy. These are very great ways, and they don't just work just with anatomy. They work with perspective as well. They work with even understanding color theory. Some of these actually do help with that, which a lot of these studies kind of coexist with each other. I think that by taking these methods truly and by utilizing it, you will see a very large growth in your art, in your anatomy drawing skills, perspective drawing skills, and just overall how you make your character. And best thing is by doing this now and earlier on, especially if you're a beginner, it now opens up many possibilities towards styles. I know most beginners, still myself as well, I still want to have, like, it's something about having a personal style that you say, that's my style. But by focusing on these fundamentals like anatomy or perspective on how your character looks, and color theory of course, by working on these three main areas, your style naturally shows itself over time. So instead of worrying about the style, by worrying on this, your style will show itself based on how you simplify your anatomy, based on how you structure your anatomy, how your character looks from certain perspectives, and how you use color theory to mix it with the anatomy so it works better. That's just one thing I learned, and I think these tips, they definitely help out a lot. And I will be doing, for this month of January, focus just straight on anatomy. It's a tough area for me too, so I wanted to spend a month and just work on getting better at anatomy. By taking this month and structuring everything, I'm able to get better at all the areas I struggle at. Then we can continue growing as a group. So thank you for joining me for today's wonderful video. I hope it was entertaining enough for you guys, and I hope it definitely was informative, so you guys were able to learn and grow in your art. There's no shame in not being good at anything. Wow, terrible wording, but there's no shame in not being good at something. So keep working towards your goals and keep working towards getting better. I'll be right there with you. So I'll catch you guys. See you next week.